Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon, and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. And as always, thank you for all your support, including sharing, chatting, liking, and subscribing. Now roll that famous logo animation! That's embarrassing. Muted. My microphone was turned off. All right. Welcome back to Computerized Start Live, the show where I have to make some sort of mistake. Either I'm late or I forget to turn audio on. Or both. So, starting back at the top of the chat, because I wouldn't want anyone to feel left out, we have Jeremy's Vintage Hillbilly Shack, Adam McGee, Jack68K, Retro Techie, Dave's Vintage Apple Tech, Trina's Technobabble, Francois, DJ Craze, Eric Sedge, Everything is Broken Garage, Retro Tech Chris, and trying not to forget anyone, Jeremiah 420. We have Jay. We have a full house. All right, it is time to get going. Welcome, everyone. Francois is supposed to go to bed, and yet he is here because he probably is curious. Now, some people accuse me of delaying to drum up suspense over my pile of broken for parts cards, and yeah, maybe I did. I mean, for all you know, here's my broken for parts cards. No, just kidding. Nope. Actually, I was at work a little later than I had anticipated because I had to do something I hadn't done in years, update some software. Of course, it didn't go right because I hadn't done it in years. Focus, webcam. Focus. I know you could do it. There. Thank you. I need a better webcam. So I finally, once I figured out exactly what was going wrong, figured out the magic search term to figure out what I needed to do, I got the software updated and was able to leave work. Yay. So now everyone will be able to use that. And hopefully I won't appear on a naughty list in the morning. Anyways, now that I'm home, the trash is out. I am down here. I think it is time to get started. So, Trina, I will be unboxing that in the next episode of Channel Surprise. So, yes, it will be soon. I was also kind of hoping that Mike might have some parts for me. I think he was going to send me a parts laptop as well. So that is coming. I guess if you have a Channel Surprise, you have like a day to get it to me before you'll miss the deadline for the next episode. And with that, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe if you aren't already, because that helps the YouTube algorithm. Who knows? Maybe the YouTube algorithm's better than ChatGPT. Or maybe it's not. I don't know. Maybe ChatGPT is the YouTube algorithm. All right, so you saw the video thumbnail. I had 4 video cards pictured, yet there are actually 5 video cards in my pile now. So, I think I will first, guess I'll go through them just to kind of give a quick summary of what I have here. So, the first video card I have that is not working correctly is the Trident 8900C that I ordered from Canada. There was a thought when I mentioned what it was doing last night that maybe it needs recapped. However, after looking at it, I don't see any electrolytic capacitors on it. So maybe it's my Emerson PC that needs recapped. So I'm actually kind of hoping that if I put this in the 386 motherboard that I have on the workbench, maybe it will just work correctly and I'll know what needs to be recapped. So anyways, the text was a little wibbly wobbly, and I don't know if it was getting worse. There were also gel bars on the monitor. So it's also possible there's a bad RAM chip. So I may try swapping some of the RAM chips around to see if the problem solves. So, yeah, the video cards are multiplying. They multiply. Yeah, they multiplied while I'm at work. Yeah, the C is for Canada. Actually, I think the C is for crummy performance, because I quite honestly I think I've now found the video card that Adrian was warning about. Although Adrian Black had the wrong video card in his hand when he warned about it. All right, the next video card that I have is one that I have Jeremiah 420, thank you. I will put that to good use. Might end up, actually, I've got some cool things upstairs that I realized will need some parts. So, yes, thank you, Jeremiah 420. All right, video card number 2. I believe this one I have shown on the channel, because I think I was testing it. It might have been Dave's stream. So this is the Trident 8900D that I bought on eBay that the seller refunded. No. This is the Trident 8900D that I bought off eBay in December and didn't realize it was going bad until after the return period ended. So this one I did not get refunded on. I paid for, and well, now knowing how quickly it failed, I paid too much for it. So this one, the symptoms are the text is unstable, there's jail bars, and if you go to one of the graphics modes, there are horizontal lines in the picture. So, yeah. No, Retro Techie, I'm not repairing a... not repairing an RTX 3070. That would require me to have an RTX 3070, and I don't think I would purposely buy a broken one. All right, next card. Oh, one other note about this card here. I believe I recapped this card. I'll have to check. I think I did recap it on Dave's stream to see if that fixed it, and it did not. So this is the card. This is a Trident 8900D-R. This is the one I bought off eBay. It didn't work, and the seller refunded me, and they told me to recycle it locally, so I'm going to take parts off of it before I recycle it, assuming there's good parts on it. So this one, the monitor will sync to it. The monitor actually will show the correct resolution and refresh rate for what mode the computer seems to be in if you listen to what it's doing, but there's never an image. So the monitor image stays black. Nothing appears on screen. But you can watch it, and you see that it starts off with the VGA text mode, and then it will go to the resolution that Windows 95 boots in. I think I had Windows 95 running when I tested it. And then you'll see it goes to 640 by 480, which I have the desktop set to. And then if you do the key sequence to shut down Windows, then you see it go to the resolution of the shutdown screen. So, yeah, weird. I'm thinking that the RAM DAC might be bad. So maybe I'll be able to steal the RAM DAC off of one of the other cards. Or there's bad RAM, which would mean there's 2 bad RAMs. So we'll see. If anything, I'm going to take the bracket. If that's the only part I keep, it'll be the bracket. And I guess the VGA connector, because those can come in handy too. All right, cards 3 and 4, which I'm going to be very careful about for a reason that you'll eventually figure out. These are the 2 untested for parts cards I got off eBay. They are both Trident 8900D-R cards. They have no bracket on them. They were untested. They were 4 parts. Doesn't work. Blah, 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 blah. You could probably figure out what I might have figured out about one of them. So, yeah, that's the 5 cards. And just to see what to confirm that none of them are actually working correctly, I am going to pop them in the 386. I don't have the keyboard downstairs because I forgot to bring it downstairs. But actually, quite honestly, I wouldn't mind if the boot process just stops, because I think for all these cards to confirm initial symptoms, I don't need it to go into Windows. In fact, actually, I'll not even plug in the compact flash card, because I don't need it to go into Windows or DOS, because I just want to double check things, especially that one card that wasn't working right in the Emerson 386. If it's also wobbly here, then it's probably the video card. Although this motherboard needs recap too, probably. No, this isn't the original hard drive for this board. This board, I only had the board. I don't have any of the other parts. Yeah, Jeremy, I'm thinking the RAM might be good on the refunded card. I'm suspecting it's the RAM DAC or the graphics chip. Heavily suspecting it's the RAM DAC. That the RAM DAC is, for some reason, not drawing the image on the screen. Because I do know those RAM DACs actually have some palette RAM in them. And I'm actually wondering if maybe that's what's bad, is the palette RAM and the RAM DAC. So, no ability to program the VGA palette into the card. Does that maybe mean you now have no image? I don't know. So I was going to try swapping the RAM DAC. Do I have the ISA VGA card for reference? Yes, I believe I do have that down here somewhere. I kind of don't really want to plug it in too many more times, but I think I can get away with plugging it in once for a comparison. So yes. So the card that Thomas is referring to is this card here. It is a Trident TVGA 9000i based card made from, there's an open source project, the ISA Super VGA, Sergey Kislev. I'm sure I butchered his name, but he designed this board. You can still get these Trident chips, new old stock. These Trident chips support an 8-bit bus. So basically, because it's really hard to find 8-bit graphics cards, this is basically an 8-bit card using a graphics chip you can still get. You can still get the RAM, and I mean, the other parts are just standard parts. Really cool project. But this card I know is working. So, because this crystal here is going to be a new crystal. The RAM, I know the RAM's good. I mean, the chips, new old stock, but I mean, I mean, he designed a really nice card. It definitely has all the components for, I think, for noise suppression, because it's got the, I think these are like ferrites or whatever. So yeah, I know this is a very high quality board. So we can use this as comparison to make sure that if this board does it and the other card does it the same thing, it's probably just noise coming from the system, or maybe capacitors need recapped. Because I know this card's in working order, and the important components, which mainly would be do we have an accurate clock source for this chip to derive the video image? I'm not questioning the quality of this component here, whereas some of the other older crystals, I would actually that's actually one of my suspicions, is some of those crystals have died. So yeah, I'll, if I remember, I'll put a link to that project. He's got the ISA Super VGA, but he's also the same person that he's got an AdLib clone card that I'll build one someday. And he also is the person that did the 8-bit network card using the Realtek 8019 chips that you can also still get. So yeah. Oh no, David Plummer going in for spinal fusion surgery. Ooh, yeah. All right, so yeah, definitely. If I could show that on screen, I would. So yeah, go watch David Plummer's latest videos and send him some well wishes in his comments. So he'll be out of commission for a few weeks. So, all right. I guess let's go ahead and just see what these cards do, just so I can confirm what they're doing one last time in case any other symptoms changed, because, well, maybe I missed something. Maybe I've got them mixed up. Who knows? Maybe one of those for parts cards actually works. Will this computer run Quake? No. This 386 will not run Quake. In fact, I think Quake knows to not even try to start. And if it does attempt to start, it works horribly. Very, very horribly. All right, so I guess first let's start with the... As I know Adrian Black always, and several other YouTubers always say, check your setup before you start testing cards. So I'm going to start with the ISA Super VGA from Sergey, because I am pretty sure that nothing's happened to the card since I last used it. I'll also make sure this motherboard's still working, because it is old. So, also this motherboard doesn't always power up the first time, which is probably another sign it might need recapped. Or the power good signal in this power supply is a little funny. There we go. So there we go. I'm going to bring the... So I'm using a capture card, so it might actually be making the screen look better than it is, but I don't have a monitor. Well, I have a monitor I could bring downstairs, but I don't have a place I can set it at the moment. But I think some of these cards, though, you can see what they're doing on the capture card. So, all right, so this card, I think it's probably coming through on... I do have a power supply tester, but I also, the way this... Well, no, I don't have a power supply tester. What am I? I've got a voltmeter. No, the power adapter I'm using actually has some LEDs on it that's testing the power supply for me. So I know the voltages are correct. So I set the monitor on top of another monitor. Well, all I have down here are flat panels, so that second monitor will just fall off the first monitor. All right, the reason I'm pausing is I'm just making sure that the output stays stable. Okay, the output of this card looks fine. It's our control card. So, all right. I'll keep it handy in case we need to put it back in. And yes, I could take hints that I need to buy a power supply tester after the sync, of course. Okay, so here is the video card from... I don't have a spare XT power supply. Oh, that's lovely. I just noticed something about this card. And I don't know if it's... Oh, you know, I bet it's supposed to be there, though. So, if we take a look at this card here, this is the one from Canada. I noticed that there is a solder bridge right there. But the thing is, considering there's a bodge wire on the card, I'm actually thinking that solder bridge might be required, and I don't know that that's necessarily the cause of the problem. So, at the moment, I'm going to leave it there. This card does have a jumper for monitor sync output. I didn't bring the manual downstairs, but I've got this one set to the mode where my monitor supports above 48 kilohertz because all my monitors support above 48 kilohertz. So I don't think that's the problem. I did, though, figure out that I initially set the jumpers wrong. So anyways, here's the card from Canada. And well, on the capture card, it looks pretty stable. I think maybe I'm going to have to give this one a longer test. Maybe we'll have to make room for that monitor. I've got a NEC multi-sync flat panel monitor I can bring down here, and I've got a new VGA splitter, so I can actually hook the monitor up and still have it going to my capture card. So yeah, that actually looks fine. Maybe my Emerson needs recapped. Okay, so we'll test this one again when I go upstairs and grab the keyboard and the multi-sync monitor. Yeah, my Emerson 386 could be causing the problems. It very well could be. Yeah. Yeah, Jeremy, I wish I had a spare AT-style power supply, but I don't. Those are hard to get. The only two I have are in computers that I am not disassembling to borrow their power supplies because, well, their cords are insufferably short. They were designed for the computer that they went in. The power supply in the Emerson is a seemingly standard OEM quality power supply from the early 90s that's never been recapped, and while there's no refa cap in it that I had to remove, I can't say that it's not a problem. Yeah, I need a 286 to test 16-bit cards. I'm working on that. There's a 286 motherboard on eBay I've got my eye on. Not that it's anything special, but... Okay, so this is the video card where the text gets unstable. And it takes it a moment or two. But I'm pretty sure if I let this run for a few seconds, even right here, it should start to show the problem. And actually, okay. I don't think you can see it yet because YouTube is probably mangling it in the compression. But I actually see in the direct capture output, I actually see the beginnings of the issue. And the thing is, though, it starts out subtle and it gets worse the longer you have it powered up. But I actually do see the start of the issue, but YouTube's compression is probably mangling it right now because it's right now it's just little blips in the characters that are like a single pixel row tall. But yeah, I bet if I took this opportunity to go upstairs and grab the keyboard, mouse, and my multi-sync monitor, it might actually get bad enough you'll probably be able to see it on your end. But yeah, I can see the beginnings of it. Capacitor across the crystal. Well, I don't know what value of capacitor to put across the crystal, and I don't know that that's actually the entire problem on this one. Because if I go to different graphics modes, the picture gets worse. I think the crystal's the problem on this one. But I think I recapped this one. I'll take a look at it. All right, let's get through the rest of these cards, and we'll come back to this one. Because it seems like it's close to working, but it does have a problem. So we'll come back to this one. I'm also going to look at it, though. I think I did recap it. Yeah, I definitely recapped it because these are definitely the yeah, these are definitely the wait, are these the Panasonic caps I bought? Actually, maybe I didn't recap this card. Oh no, I did. I see the flux on it. Oh wow. Okay, I might actually know what the problem is on this card. Oh wow. Okay. So I just happened to grab the card right here, and that memory chip felt just a little bit warm. Nope. Maybe there's a iffy memory chip on it, actually. I mean, I can try putting a capacitor across the crystal. I thought it should already have one, though, because I thought that's how crystals worked, but then again, it's a cheap video card. Maybe they omitted that, hoping it would work long enough for you to be outside the return period. Okay. But actually, one of these memory chips, I mean, it wasn't blazing hot, but I think that warrants maybe a closer inspection of the memory chip temperatures. Okay. We'll come back to that one because I want to let it run long enough for the image to start to get messed up. Okay, so this one here is the one that was sync but no image. I might double check the jumper settings again, but I'm pretty sure that it's set right. This one's definitely not capacitors because there's no electrolytics on it. But what I do notice is it seems like there's a dearth of components on this. Like, where are the ferrite beads that I thought it's on a lot of better cards? So this is like a cheap card. In fact, I think the -R stands for ROMs on board the graphics chip, because I have yet to see a -R chip that actually has a ROM chip on it. Check that ceramic cap for a short. On this card that I'm about to put in, or the one I just had in? I don't see any. I don't see any. I see two. I see two tantalum capacitor. Oh, there is a ceramic on this board. I don't think there's a short on this card, honestly. I don't think there's a short. I don't think I have shorted capacitors on any of these cards. I mean, I say that, and inevitably I'll get a shorted capacitor sometime, but... Okay, well that... Alright, so I'm going to check this card. Although Jeremy suggested it might have been the other card, so... Well, here's a capacitor that's reading... Well, maybe I do have a problem in this card. I may have just found it. But it's not a shorted capacitor. Oh, the last one with the hot RAM chip. Okay. Because actually there's a little ceramic capacitor on this board I was about to put in, and the capacitor seems to be open. Although, well, then again, the other... Oh, those are all reading as open. That's weird. Oh, they are really small cap. Wait a minute. Okay, that's really weird. So on this card here, I just tried to check all the capacitors I could see that I knew were capacitors. So this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. And for some reason, they all seem to be reading open. I kind of find it hard to believe that there are 5 open capacitors on this board. Then again, maybe there are. Maybe that's why there's no image. Well, I think I got another card that's just like it, so... Alright, I'll skip testing this one. Because... And let me go to one of these two untested ones, which are the same, I think the same... Well, they're close enough. They use the same graphics chip. They're not quite the same layout, but they're closer than... All right, well, let me check this one. Oh, I guess you can't see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to check some capacitors on this one to see if... Or do they also measure open, or... Oh, maybe they do. Let me do this. Let me just change to capacitor mode and see if they actually measure as capacitors. I mean, the reading won't be... Well, that didn't read as... Okay, there's one more capacitor. So that first capacitor read as overload, but maybe my meter doesn't... Maybe it's larger than my meter likes. So this capacitor is also reading as overload. Okay, fine. I'm going to go to resistance. So I don't know. These capacitors are all readings open. Passive components before ICs. Well, I can't. It can't measure passive components if their readings as open. So, anyways, I'm just gonna. I guess the important thing is there's no shorts. There are no shorts on this card. So this is one of the two untested eBay ones. 4 parts, not working, broken. Oh, really? Yeah, that looks broken to me. Yeah, that video card looks totally broken, don't you agree? Actually, I have to admit, when I got these on eBay just to make sure I didn't get sent a complete garbage of things that were totally out of line with what the auction listing said. I had actually tested them. Yeah, oh, you can't see. Oh, sorry. Yeah, yeah, you heard it post. There you go. It gives the splash and everything. Hey, Hav. Yeah, this one just works. I guess we'll have to run it to see if it's long-term stable, but yeah, this one powered up. However, the other 4 parts one though, this one's really fun. All right, so we'll just go for broke here. All right, so am I possibly 2 for 2 lucky? Yeah, not sure you heard that. Yep, we are currently stopped at a postcode of 40, and I believe that beep, 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 beep code that we got is BIOS beeps. And I didn't write down what it meant. 1, 2, 3, how many beeps was it? 8 beeps. Yeah, oh yeah, VGA is missing. Okay. Yeah, the VGA is missing. Yeah, even though I got a card in. So now here's the interesting thing though. So that is what the card jumpered the way I thought it should be jumpered. But if I remove these 2 red jumper pins, then it actually gets just a little bit more interesting, because it'll be jumpered as the way it was when I first got it, without these 2 red jumper pins. So we still get the BIOS beep codes, but oh wait, Oh, okay. That's right. It hangs at, so it gives the beeps for no video card. I see what my note is now. But then the postcode that it's presenting of 40 hex is actually, it's hung at the serial port check. So it, anyways, I don't need to belabor this anymore. Obviously, this card has no output, and actually, honestly, I did that for slight effect. Enhance. Enhance. Super enhance. I don't know what those pins do, but I don't think they're supposed to. I don't think they're supposed to do that. You know, what's the home inspector guy on Instagram? I'd probably TikTok say it's not supposed to do that. Yeah, looks like some of those pins are actually pushed in and potentially broken. And actually, I believe some of those pins are going directly to the ISA connector. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if the BIOS isn't loading. Yeah, this card is parts. I don't think I'm gonna be able to fix that because I think I think at least one, if not two of these pins is I really think they're broken. And if they're not broken, they're not going to make really good contact. So anyways, let's see. Let's see if my suspicion's correct. Okay, so that's... Interestingly enough, okay, interestingly enough, they are making contact. I mean, I could try to reflow the pins, but they're making contact. But with the pins pushed in like that, maybe they're broken in the package. Because they are definitely pushed in. I mean, yeah, I could try transplanting the chip, but the most I've got to lose is 2 boards that are otherwise parts. Quite honestly, there could be a broken trace on this board, too. Oh, yeah, I didn't see that, because I didn't give it a... There might actually be broken traces. I didn't really give a thoroughly good look to everything on the board, but there's a scratch. Oh, those look like light scratches. There's a scratch. I guess this one, it might warrant doing a continuity check on those pins. There's a scratch there. Although that might not be breaking continuity. I have already tried cleaning the contacts on this, though. Anyways, the ROM, I'm pretty sure, is in this chip, so... I don't know how that scratch would cause it to not see the ROM, but it could be maybe the ROM I don't know, maybe the ROM requires some RAM to load. I could, but it still gives beeps and no image. I think maybe what I'll do is I'll check this, I'll check those traces on the back of the card. This one may be a parts card. One of these cards I think needs to be parts for the others. So I didn't come into this thinking I'd be able to fix all 5 cards. Although one of them maybe is actually not broken. So what I'm going to do is, all right, so we got one card that I think just works. So I'm going to put it to the side because I don't want to use it for parts. And I guess the card from Canada also possibly just works. I'm going to set it to the side. And, oh, take off cap C5 and C20. Well, that's easy. C5 is actually off already. C20, though, is still there. Wait a minute. Also, the card that just works, also doesn't have C5. So, I mean, I could take cap C20 off and test, but I don't know how that's going to help without having a capacitor there. But we can do that. So anyways, let me kind of sort these in order of fix. So I've got one card that is unstable that I was thinking maybe first try to swap the crystal out. Although it was suggested I try putting a capacitor across the crystal. So I guess I'm going to have to see if I have said capacitors of a small value. I think I have some, but I don't know where they've floated to on my workbench. So I'll have to find them. So maybe that's not the first one I'll do. Sync but no image. BIOS, no, not loading the BIOS. The tantalum, I checked, the tantalum's not shorted. I am not reading any shorts on these cards. I am, all these capacitors are reading open, not short. Although then again, I think my multimeter lead might have not been plugged in. Oh, my multimeter lead wasn't plugged in all the way. Okay, so this C20 cap on this board is reading it's reading 500 ohms. So that's not a short. Maybe I need a new multimeter. Actually, it's probably the test leads, not the multimeter. Okay, that capacitor is also 500 ohms. Do not shorted. There's a capacitor there. No, actually, that may not be a capacitor. Not reading. Actually, that component's so small, I can't tell what it is. There's a ceramic capacitor. It's reading open. That ceramic capacitor is reading 7 mega ohms. That ceramic's reading 7 mega ohms. That tantalum is really only reading like 500 ohms. It's 550 ohms. That's not shorted. So yeah, these capacitors aren't shorted on this card. I know where I could get a 15% discount on a multimeter too. But I don't like multimeters that try to make decisions for me. Also, I've got a fluke meter that I could, well, I need better leads to plug into it. These cheap leads, it doesn't really like these cheap leads. So yeah, good night, Retro Techie. That's 500 ohms. So this is the card that sync but no image. I'm checking the capacitors now that I actually have the leads plugged in. That's 500 ohms. Yeah, I don't see any shorted capacitors. 500 ohms. 500 ohms. All the capacitors are reading 500. Okay, that's 4.5 mega ohms. That one's 500 ohms. That's a little ceramic. I don't know what that is. That's, oh, that's actually, oh, that's an inductor. So, of course, it's going to read a short. Let's see, that's like 6 mega ohms. That one's 6 mega ohms. All right, that's 500 ohms. Okay, so this one doesn't have any shorted capacitors on it either. Oh, all right. Good night, Ryan. So, okay, so those two cards, it's not capacitors. All right, so this is the one that I basically paid full price for and can't use. I think this is the one that Jeremy was saying to check the ceramic cap by the RAM chip that I thought was running hot. And it's reading 2.7 kilo ohms. 2.7 kilo ohms. They're actually tantalums. You know, I know you can't see what I'm doing because I can't really zoom out far enough. Really. Well, maybe I need to move this motherboard. 2.7. 2.7. 2.7. 2.7. 2.7. 2.7. That's kilo ohms. Rudy still thinks it's bad caps. 2.7. 2.7. 2.7. I guess I'll have to check the other polarity too. 2.7. So what if I put these in the other polarity? Oh. Maybe these are ceramic caps. 2.3. You know, I'm not sure these are actually polarized. Maybe they are ceramics that look like tantalums. 2.4. 7.3. 2.7. 7.8, that's actually mega ohms. That's a ceramic, it's 4.4 mega ohms. Oh, I can't actually read that one because the way it's installed, I can't get to the pads. That one's 27 kilo ohms. Yeah, I don't see anything shorted on this one. So This is the one that gets unstable with time. I think it's either the RAM or the crystal. So let me put this one back in, and let me let the RAM warm up, and let's see if I can, let me see if the RAM, that one RAM chip heats up to, if it's hotter than the others, or if it's just because I happened to pull the card out while it was warm and the other chips cooled down before I could check them. Did they put a plus symbol on the tantalum caps? I don't see one. I actually don't see one, so those are probably ceramics that look like tantalums. The only one that I see a polarity marker on looks different than the rest. So those actually might be ceramics, because there's no polarization marking. Gee. A cheap video card that used ceramic caps that look like tantalums. Do I have another oscillator? Not at that frequency. Unless I pull one off of these other boards, but I don't know what frequency they are. And I don't know if they're equivalent parts, but they might be. Okay. Well, it looks like I might be able to snag one off that. Or I could snag one... Well... Okay, I might be able to snag one off of one of these two cards. The crystal doesn't look the same, but they are the same frequency. I don't have any 14.31818 spares that aren't installed in something. Yeah, maybe this card just had too much to drink. Okay, so that memory chip is warm. Not too hot. It does feel a little warmer than the one beside it. This memory chip is definitely much warmer than that one. But it's not like burning hot. But it is definitely running warmer than the one beside it, too. And it feels like it's running warmer than the one below it. Yeah, you know, this RAM chip here, you know, this RAM chip that I thought was getting warm is actually... It feels like it's running warmer than the rest of them. No, actually, now the one below it actually also feels warm. Actually, maybe I should try to measure voltage on this card. Okay. Let me see if I can check some voltages. All right, so on the coming in from the power supply, I have, okay, so red is 5 volts. It's reading 5.05 volts. So gray is negative 5 volts. It's like negative 5.01. Let's see, that's one of the commons. Blue is negative 12 volts, so it's negative 11.93 volts. That's actually within spec. Yellow is 12.45 volts. That seems a bit high, actually. Red, okay, that's another red. That's 5 volts. And then purple, I think's power good, 4.97 volts. Actually, 12.45 volts. 12.45 volts on the 12-volt rail. That seems... Or wait, or a spec plus or minus half a volt on 12 volts. Have I tried a different card slot? No, I have not tried a different card slot. Well, Actually, yes. On this card, I have tried a different card slot. It was a different card slot by virtue of the fact it was in a different computer. And it did the same thing in that one. So, so you know, so yes, I have tried a different card slot, but it was a different computer. And it did the same thing. So it would have been a different computer, different power supply. The problem is well, once I put the compact flash card in, it makes it hard to use different slots. Because the compact flash card sticks out, but we'll see. I was trying to keep a constant of put the card in the same slot, because seemingly I thought that slot worked. I mean, ideally, I'd maybe put the video card in this slot because it's closest to the processor, but I can't because this IO card has to go to the well, I guess my right of everything else. So I mean, I could put the video card in this slot if I move this to this slot, but I don't know. I want to double check what spec for. I want to check what spec for 12 volts is. I don't remember if it's okay, so this website says plus 12 volts DC, tolerance is plus or minus 5%. So it says 11.4 volts to 12.6 volts. Okay. So I guess plus 12 volts DC is within spec. Okay. Well, I mean, I guess I can well, actually this card seems to be behaving. Oh, Rudy, I do need to put the IO controller card in because at some point I do need to boot an operating system. Because this card seems to be mostly behaving itself right now. But I think the moment I start to run graphics modes on it, it'll start to misbehave more. I mean, I could pull the postcard out, but I don't think the postcard's really doing much. Yeah, I think this video card though is trying to make a fool of me because I know it was malfunctioning, but okay, let me go upstairs and make it hotter. Well, now I can do that. Oh. Actually, let me do something here. Well, no, actually. So I've got it set to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Hey, Chris. Really long video cable to fix it up. I'm just going to try to gently heat the RAM up a little bit. 674 feet video cable. Yeah, I can run some software. All right, let me maybe see if adding a little heat to the crystal causes a problem. Nope. What about the RAM deck? Oh. Oh. Oh, I accidentally touched a pin on the feature connector. Well, I just made that card warmer, and at least in text mode, that's not doing anything. Okay, I guess let me go upstairs and grab the keyboard so I could at least run Doom or something like that. Yeah, I definitely did warm the card up. Oh, Chris was making a Naboo computer joke. Well, they haven't shipped my Naboo yet, so I won't get the joke until I get it, probably. All right, well, let me go upstairs. Let me grab my keyboard so I can at least get into the BIOS or not get into the BIOS, so I can at least get into the benchmarks and run software that'll do something more. Because artificially warming it up with the heat gun, at least this one that was getting unstable after time, that didn't do it. So I'm actually going to need to run software. So I'll be right back. Hello, K-Mac Vintage, welcome. And anyone else that joined while I was upstairs. The reason why it took me so long is because I brought my multi-sync LCD monitor downstairs and hooked it up. And so I could at least see what the my VGA splitter is outputting on the second output. So just in case the scaler locks on, but the VGA monitor or the monitor doesn't. I don't have a CRT display, but I might get one. I think there's someone locally selling one at a not completely awful, but not completely great price. A completely great price would be free, take off my hands, go away, don't want large monitor. But completely awful would be like hundreds of dollars. I know what I have, no low balls. Vintage, rare, Steve Jobs, Apple. Well, that'd be silly. I think it's a Dell monitor. Rare, Michael Dell, super rare, vintage, blah, 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 blah. Although I guess Michael Dell doesn't really drive used computer peripheral sales quite the way Steve Jobs does now, but, well, you get the idea. I don't remember what they want for it. I might fall for it. I might find out they've already sold it and just failed to take their Facebook Marketplace listing down. All right. So let's see here. Let's go ahead and boot into... Oh. Okay, so the one thing I can see, this video card does have jail bars. They're quite clear, even on my multi-sync monitor. So I don't know if that's maybe one of the RAM chips is bad, or... That would be one nice thing. One nice reason to have a CRT VGA monitor to rule out things that are just visible on digital scalers that so exactly see the image. I hit the wrong key. I went into safe mode instead of... Ooh, okay. Yeah, on my multi-sync monitor, I can see the video problem much clearer. Okay, there, you might be able to... Okay, YouTube is probably mangling it, but you can probably still see it, that the image is in this mode is very, very bad. Let me see if I can find a... Oh, here we go. I was reading a article on Ars Technica that was talking about the games that were included in versions of Windows. So I think that might maybe make it a little more obvious. Yeah, if you especially take a look at the cards, you can definitely tell there's something going on. I don't know how much of it YouTube is ruining and how much of it's making across, but yeah, if you go to 640 by 480 mode, this card's problem apparently shows itself, and it looks like to me that there's either noise on the signal, like something's not filtering noise, or it's not quite generating a stable clock. So, yeah, Adam, real monitors are better, but they're also harder to find these days. But I may check out the one that was on Facebook Marketplace and actually now I'm curious. I forgot how much they wanted for it. It was like a 15-inch Dell CRT monitor. It's not beige, but that could be good or bad. Oh, they wanted 25 bucks for it. I guess that's not too bad. Rare 15-inch CRT tube type computer monitor. Getting hard to find these. They want 25 bucks for it. I think it's a Dell brand. I can't tell from the picture. It might. I can't tell what brand it is. I mean, for 25 bucks, it's probably not a bad price. I just have to get down to where they are. So, it's not caps on this board. I know everyone says it's bad caps, bad caps. That's the default answer, but I already recapped this board. It's not bad caps. And the reason I know I recapped it is because I'm pretty sure they're Panasonic caps that look exactly like the ones I ordered the other day, and I can see my flux on the back of the board too. So in this case, it's already been recapped. This is not the caps. Because one of these video cards I did recap. I think it's this one. I am trying to find my package of capacitors so I can confirm that they do match the ones I ordered. But the thing is, this is the only card that it looks like I've recapped it. All the other cards look factory on the capacitors. So I'm pretty sure this is the one I recapped. And there's no refa cap on this video card. The video cable that I'm using does not have a ferrite bead on it, but the one I was using the other day did, and that didn't help. Bad eyes. Well, I am getting older. I had this in the Emerson 386, which is in a metal case, and that did not. The video image looks just as bad. Honestly, I think there's I think there is something wrong with the card. Trying to get a cable with a ferrite bead on it's tricky. Hold on. I really want to try to find the capacitors I have. I want to confirm that I did recap the board. Oh, actually. Oh, I think they're these ones here. All I needed to do was look for the Mauser box sitting on top of my toolbox. Here we go. So these are the caps I ordered. They are Rubicon. Okay, they're not Panasonic, they're Rubicon. Which is why when I looked at the logo and was questioning if they're Panasonic, it's because it was an R, not an M. So yes, I can confirm. This card has been recapped. The caps on that board match my Rubicon capacitors that I ordered from Mauser. So they're not low ESR capacitors, but in this size, for the size capacitors they are on the board, you can't. No, I couldn't get low ESR ones. I mean, it is possible that it needs to be in a metal case, but when I put it in the Emerson 386, it was doing the same thing, or I'm pretty sure it was. So, oh, Jeremy, given the weight of a 17-inch CRT monitor, I'll probably try to find one locally. Although if I run it, if I can get a 15-inch for 25 bucks, that's cheaper than it costs to ship a 17-inch. Even using pirate ship. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess if I got desperate enough. All right, let me see. Do I have anything that I could use to test the theory that it's RF interference on my workbench? I really think it's the crystal on this board. But I don't really have a good way of proving that because I don't have one to replace it. Or I could come shop your storage unit. Yeah. Well, I mean, my car is in better driving condition now than well, okay. I don't think my car was in poor driving condition, but it sounded awful because there's a heat shield on it that keeps coming loose. But they did tell me today that they actually put a new bolt in it. So maybe it will actually stay tightened for at least the entire duration before I need an oil change again. Because it's kind of embarrassing to drive a car that sounds like it's just going to like fall apart. It's just this little heat shield that was, I guess, vibrating with the RPMs of the engine. Oh, which if anyone was wondering, because you all know, if you were watching last night, you knew my car was due for inspection, and I might have been a bit worried that they were going to find 17,000 random weird things wrong and cost $40 bazillion to fix. They found nothing. So, yeah, this inspection went smooth. They found nothing wrong with the car. It was a free inspection because I bought the car from them. And all I had to pay for, well, okay, they charged me $10 labor to tighten the heat shield. And and I had to pay for the oil change. Although, the last time they tightened the heat shield, they didn't charge me anything. I had a $10 off coupon. It might have been a bit dubious, but then again, I don't know. They were fair. They were right to. I mean, they did do labor on the car. What am I to argue? I don't think they charged me for the bolt. I don't know. I did find it odd that they charged me $10 labor and I had a $10 coupon, but the car's running great. It's not rattling. I'm happy. Now when I go drive to Northern Virginia in a couple weeks, it won't sound like my car is falling apart the entire way. And I have an oil change. I do need to go, though. Mike told me to get a thing of Cataclean from Federated and run that through my car. So I guess I'll do that this weekend. So, oh, Adam, did you buy the broken Apple IIe that had all the broken keys that I'd looked at? And since I don't have spare keyboards, I didn't buy it. I'm glad someone bought it that can actually fix it. I mean, I had been watching it because it had the two super serial cards in it, and it looked like it had the Apple IIe RAM upgrade card in slot 7, but not very populated. Yeah, I'll get there and we'll cruise in your car. Well, actually, I don't know that we have a choice of which car, but yeah, you've got yes. But yeah, my car is working good and okay, so I'm kind of stumped on this card. Okay, let me see. Okay, yeah, I knew that Apple memory card was kind of rare. And I mean, I was tempted to get it, but well, given the fact that I did need to get some work done on my car, mainly the oil change, and the fact that I'm like almost ready to, I'm just going to buy VCF tickets because that'll cause me to, well, if I buy the tickets to go to VCF, then, well, that's one less excuse I have of going if I've got tickets in hand. So I was like, well, as much as I would like a cool memory upgrade card for the Apple IIe, and a super serial card might be nice, I was like, no, I really want to put that money towards other things, so I'll just wait for another Apple IIe to show up that's got something cool in it. Besides, if I play my cards right, you'll admit that you have like 17 super serial cards and you'll throw one in the box next time you send me something. And yes, Adam, I had to ask. I'm trying to see if I by chance have a spare crystal on, that matches this one on. I got a couple things that are parts boards floating around me. I'm looking to see if any of them just by chance have this 14.31818 megahertz crystal on it that matches the one on this card. Because I'm tempted to replace it, but I don't want to swipe. Oh, actually, yes, I thought you could help with Apple II parts. Actually, I just realized I might actually have a 14.31818 megahertz crystal on something. Ah, no. Foiled. It's a 10.73863 or something. No. Wrong value. Oh, that's 4 megahertz. Wrong value. Because I thought 14.31818 was like 4 times the NTSC color burst signal, and I was for sure looked at a parts motherboard I have sitting on my bench. I was like, oh wait, that one has to have a 14.31818 on it because it's an NTSC. And no, it doesn't. Okay, I don't think I've got anything that's a confirmed parts board with that crystal on it. So, all right, we're going to come back to this one. Oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah, I gotta remember to look at my work calendar tomorrow, but I was pretty much thinking I would at least like to just attend the whole weekend if I'm going to go that far. I still kind of got to see if I can make the budget work to go to VCF East, because I kind of forgot that it happens in April. We'll see. But I was tempted to buy tickets. That's at least to make sure I have tickets. Because that would be a shame if I figure out that it will work and I can't get tickets. I got to figure out how much it'll cost to get up there. It's been so long since I've taken a road trip. Anyways, okay, I don't have a spare crystal that value unless I take one off these other video cards. I mean, I could, I mean, I am half tempted I'm half tempted to take the crystal off the card that was giving the BIOS beeps. But I'm reading the value of the crystal on it, and I can't confirm it's the same value, although theoretically it should be. Because it only says on it 14 AK. It's probably the same value. Okay, Chris, I might have to take you up on that. That would at least, I was thinking of staying the whole weekend if I can get away with it. Who knows? Maybe I can, if I can confirm it would work out, maybe I can, show off something. I don't know. Or just have fun for a weekend. Alright, I'm going to take this crystal off this board. I can't confirm it's the same one that I need, but it's my best bet here. So, alright. So this, I'm going to take this crystal off the board that we get beeps, but no, we get BIOS beeps. I mean, not because I can confirm the crystal works, obviously, but if I had to guess of a card that might actually have working parts on it, it would be the card that kind of looks like it's taken some physical damage. So I'm going to take that crystal. I'll put it on this other board. Worst comes to worst, I figure out that's not it, but I think I can get it off. I think I can get it off cleanly and give it a try. Might figure out that it's the wrong part, but whatever. Guess I also realized it's 10 o'clock and it's time to at least put the soldering iron to something. I guess I can also just check that. Because the thing is, I'm having trouble finding. I thought I had some little like 33 picofarad capacitors or something right around that, but I'm having trouble finding where I put those. So I'm gonna try the crystal. If it's not the crystal, then maybe I'll take the RAM DAC. Because this card actually does have a couple of inductors near the video. Although, I don't know that it has one for each color, but... Oh, actually, no, there are 3. Alright, well, let me... Oh. First, let me change my iron temperature. Because I had it set for 850 degrees Fahrenheit. Because I was doing lead-free soldering last night. And I don't want to melt. I don't want to damage the PCB. Because this leaded solder will probably just come... Ah, there we go. So that was the blob of solder that was attaching the side of that crystal to probably ground. That solder just came right off. And then let me get the... Let me see if I can figure out which pin's the... Okay, it should be this pin. And this pin. Although I want to desolder this thinking of Mercari, I did... I'd ordered a beige case off of Mercari because someone had listed it for like $17 plus $17 shipping. It's a beige mid-tower ATX case. And yeah, it arrived yesterday. I didn't get a chance to check it yesterday, but I pulled it out of the box today, and sure enough, it looks exactly like it did in the photos. A new old stock beige ATX case from a company called Just PC. And it's at least from the Pentium 4. It's from the Pentium 4 era. I think it's a case that came out right when the Pentium 4 did. It has a power supply into it, which I immediately suspect and will not power on until I inspect the quality of it. But it is at least something I can date the approximate age of the case to, because it came with an adapter for using the power supply on a Pentium 4 motherboard, which tells me this is one of the first cases that came out to support the Pentium 4 processor. So it kind of gives me an approximate age. This is going to be a late beige era case. But it arrived new. It's a new old stock case, just as I suspected it was. And it looks pretty good. Except, of course, the power supply, I suspect, is super cheap. Mauser, okay, I think I'll order some of those crystals from Mauser, or I may, actually, you know, I think I do have a couple parts to get from Mauser. I may also have some things to order from Jamco, so, and I think they've got, I'm pretty sure they'd have that crystal too. Actually, I may have to add, oh wait, maybe I did, okay, actually, I'm probably going to have to add some solder to that to get that off. But the other thing is, it almost feels like there might be solder underneath it to ground the can. I hope not, but... Alright. Might also just have to add some flux to encourage the solder to come off. But anyways, I'm actually, that new beige case I bought, I'm actually tempted to move the Pentium 3 into it. If the back plate that came with the case matches the motherboard I have in the Pentium 3, then I'll probably put the Pentium 3 on it. Or in the case. There we go. Got that crystal out. So let me see here. I don't think it matters which direction I put it in. And I'll see here. Does look like it will go right in. So, okay, that card's not going to work the way it is now. Okay, so if this doesn't fix it, I'll probably put that other crystal back. Or, well, we'll see. If I get no image, I'll put the other crystal back, because that probably means this is the wrong type of crystal. If the symptoms didn't change, I'm tempted to take the RAM DAC off that card that I think is parts, and we'll give that a try. Because it seems like this card is mostly working. Of course, the other thing is I could almost maybe try... You know, of all these cards, I don't think I got two that have the same memory type on them. Oh, the annoying part of cheap cards, because the pinout of these memory chips is different than the pinout of these memory chips, is different than the pinout of these memory chips. All right, let's see here. Let me find the power switch. Fingers crossed. 3, 2, 1. Oh. No, it was not the crystal. Or that's the wrong type of crystal, or one, but yeah. Yeah, no, that's not it. Okay, I guess I am going to have to. All right, I guess I'll have to put the other crystal back. It is possible that this crystal is the wrong frequency, although I don't know why one card would have a completely different speed crystal than the others, because I don't know that there's a... I thought that these RAM decks used a common crystal frequency. I mean, I could be wrong. Although, you know, honestly, I did find it quite odd that... You know, that was kind of strange, though, that it did appear as if the image was synchronized. And yet, not functioning. I don't know. All right, well, we'll put this crystal back on. Oh, well, probably would help if I made sure the pins were actually through the board. There we go. All right, and then let me put the solder blob back on that was grounding the... There we go. All right, the crystal is once again installed and grounded to the point that it was on the board. And all right, so assuming I didn't do anything, the board, we should at least have some sort of an image. Okay, so it wasn't the crystal. All right, good night, Frank. All right, well, I guess I will put this crystal back on this other board when I get to it. All right, so... You know, maybe this other board, maybe the crystal on this other board's bad. You know, that is maybe one thing I should have done before I soldered that crystal back on. Maybe I should have put it in this board to see what it did. Because maybe that's the reason why it can't read the BIOS. Maybe the crystal on this board is bad. Yeah, 3.57954 color burst basic frequency. Yeah. Okay, so it wasn't the crystal. But the crystal... Actually, you know what I should do? I should actually let it go back into Windows. And the reason is because I resoldered the crystal on. And maybe maybe the solder joint on the side of that crystal was bad. Let me just because because those crystals I think do require a the shield or the can to be grounded. So let me let it go into Windows. It's quick. I mean, it's possible if the solder joint on the side of that can was bad, maybe that could cause it. It just dawned on me. Okay, we still have jail bars. I mean, it's also possible there's another problem with the card, too. I mean, if the picture looks better, then maybe I'll go put this in the Emerson and see if it looks even better. Well, no, it still has a problem. I mean, is it the fact that I don't have it in a case, though? Always a good question. Trying to think if I have like a metal plate or something that I can put between the video card and the power supply. I mean, I guess I could like go get some aluminum foil and make a hat over it. But I think I've got a disassembled something or other with a metal plate if I could just figure out what I did with it. Amiga RF shield. Oh, here we go. Trying to look for something that would be fairly easy for me to keep from touching anything it shouldn't, because I was trying to think of something that's flat, and here I've got it. Because I never got around to selling my old ultrasonic cleaner. In fact, actually, I'm actually tempted to just fill it with fluid again and use it when I have like smaller things to clean. So anyways, so if I oh well, I bumped the okay, so if I can well, actually I don't know what I just did. Huh. That's interesting. Well, I didn't think I touched metal to anything that I shouldn't have, but okay, that's weird. Oh, I just reset it. Okay, don't know what I did. Anyways, I just put a metal plate between the video card and the power supply, which would be my first guess of something that might be causing noise. And other than the fact of, seemed like the computer's unhappy when I flex this VGA cable, so maybe I'd need to replace the VGA cable. The thing is, the other cable I was using was doing the same thing, so I don't think the cable's causing all of the issues. Let me see if I can find a better VGA cable, one with ferrites. I think I've got. Well, I may have to go thrifting this weekend and just go to the SPCA thrift shop and buy a couple more decent VGA cables. They seem to always have some in their bin of the good, very robust VGA cables. Well, I mean, I have one that's like 40 bazillion feet long, but that's actually to connect my oscilloscope. Oh, I just found a LC hard drive mounting bracket that I didn't think I had. I don't know which LC that was for. All right, let me see. Okay, so that's the... All right, I'm swapping VGA cables. Stand by, please. I just got to find the other end of this cable that I was using. All right, so that's the cable that came with the scaler. Or not the scaler, it came with the VGA splitter. I thought it was a decent cable because it's an Extron brand, but maybe it's a worn out cable. All right, here's the one end of the VGA cable I was using. I'm trying to find the other end. If you saw all the cables I had over here, you'd see why I am having trouble finding it. Oh, that's why. There it is. Okay, here we go. So let me plug this into the splitter. I'll get a better cable because this is just one of those thin VGA cables that may not have all the signals going through it. But I think for a PC VGA card, it should have enough signals. Oh, did I do something to the... Oh, that's right. I unplugged the... VGA signal. Of course, it's... All right, so there's that. Here's this, and assuming I didn't do anything silly, we should have a image again as soon as I plug this cable back in. Well, as soon as I plug this cable back, there we go. Oh, and apparently I restarted Windows. I think there might be a broken wire in my, I think one of these, maybe this power supply's got an issue. Because I know when I put that metal plate between the computer and the power supply that I did not touch anything metal or any pins or anything that should have reset it, but I flexed something that restarted the computer. I think it's actually locked up. Adam, I think I passed a bulldozer on my way home. It was maybe doing work on the sheets that they're um, doing a major renovation on. If renovation's the correct word when they tear the entire building down and rebuild it on a different footprint. Okay, so this is the better video cable. That didn't fix the problem. So let me try to put this metal shield between the two. And I think I might know one of the problems. I know exactly what I flexed that caused it to restart. And I know what caused it to restart when we didn't have a video image. I think this VGA connector has a bad solder joint on it. Okay. All right. I can't see it with my eyes. I mean, none of those look broken without a microscope, but I'm just going to go ahead and reflow all the VGA connector pins because the computer restarted when I bumped the metal plate into the VGA cable, which probably caused it to flex. So I'm wondering if the VGA connector is not making good contact. So I'm just going to reflow it here real quick. I'll even reflow the there we go. I'll even reflow these two pieces that hold the connector on the board. Well, I guess maybe also that tells me that might be a good test if I got a video card that's got a weird problem of try flexing the cable at the connector end and see if it does weird things. I don't know, I might have to. I might actually need to add some flux and try this again. I might have to actually. Let me add flux. The solder's not really flowing that well. So tonight's flux is Amtech NC559 ASTM-TF. That's what I have. I'm out of the sample 88 or I guess the V3. Although I'm not really as big of a fan of it as some others. No, it's not fixed yet, Thomas, but I kind of had an idea that maybe on this card that the VGA connector had a cold solder joint or something because the computer restarted when I bumped the VGA connector. Also possible the VGA connector has I may need to replace the VGA connector. Maybe there's something wrong with the connector itself, but let me first try reflowing the pins. And not create solder bridges. Or there shouldn't be. There we go. Let me. Alright. I don't know that that's going to help where I got it placed, but it'll be better than nothing. Alright. Alright, let me see. There we go. Alright, let me check, make sure I don't have any solder bridges. Alright. I think I've reflowed all those pins. Looks like I'm free of solder bridges. Okay. Let me... let me see if I can make this flux, the excess of flux, go away real quick. I'll just to make sure it doesn't interfere with the VGA connection, and I'll also make sure the contacts are clean, that I didn't get any flux on them. Alright, so there's that. Take a little contact cleaner. Alright. Put some contact cleaner in the VGA connector, contact clean the edge connector, and reflow the pins of the VGA connector. And let me give another moment for the contact cleaner and the isopropyl to flash off. And then we'll give it a try and see if it's behaving. Yeah, when I noticed that it wiggling the VGA connector caused the computer to reboot, tells me that something might not be might be connected somewhere that shouldn't be. Okay. That's probably good. I may also well, actually, I'm running low on ATX power supplies that aren't in computers. Okay. Let's see what we get here. No, it is not fixed. In fact, it is worse than it was. Oh, hold on. Maybe there is a, there might have been a little tiny solder bridge. Okay. Let me see what it does now. Oh, okay. Let me plug the video cable back in. Okay, so it at least didn't BIOS beep that time. I guess there was a little tiny solder bridge. All right, there we go. Got the BIOS screen. So if I wiggle the VGA connector, that's certainly better. Now if I flex the power supply cables, that's better. So now if I just put this metal shield between the two, oh. And I flexed something that made it unhappy. Okay, so what did I flex? Well, that's... I put a metal shield between the video card and the power supply. Oh, I think okay. Okay, I must have been shorting something out. So the metal shield was on the anti-static bag that's underneath the box. Okay, I must have had a path between the power supply and something somewhere. Weird. I don't know what was connected, but it was... Something was making a conductive path through the anti-static bag that I have the box setting on top of that the motherboard is on. And I specifically did it that way because I knew anti-static bags are slightly conductive, which is why I didn't have the motherboard directly on the anti-static bag. But apparently, when I put the metal shield between the power supply and the motherboard, which required me to set it on top of the anti-static bag, the computer reset because apparently I've got something setting on the anti-static bag that is conducting a voltage through it. I don't see what it is. All right, well, I'll try not to do that again. Okay, so I got the metal shield in place too. Reflowed the VGA connector. And the video does not look better. In fact, actually, the video is worse. I think it's the RAM deck. I'm noticing a pattern in where the screen's the worst. All right, so when the mouse, when I get... Oh, I forgot to plug in the mouse. All right. Anyway, so... Oh, but wait. I'm using a serial mouse. I mean, I don't know if Windows will detect that I've plugged the serial mouse in after it complained there was no mouse, but I just realized. It's not like I'd be plugging a PS2 mouse in after I powered it up, and that can be dangerous. I'm just using a serial mouse. Well, if I can find where the port is. There it is. All right, well, maybe Windows will. So, I don't know if you can see it, but the screen, there is definitely a band that looks worse, and it's like, it's not all the way on the right side of the screen, but it starts at about where the, maybe about where the C is in recycle bin, and extends, I don't know, about the width of the recycle bin text. So, okay. And it is visible on my real monitor too. So, yeah, I'm going to, I think I'm going to take the RAM DAC off of another. Actually, I'm wondering, so do I put the RAM DAC on this board, which maybe it's the RAM DAC, but maybe it's the, I mean, it could be the crystal still. Or maybe do I say that I've spent way too much time on this one and maybe try putting the RAM DAC, a new different RAM DAC on the board that sync but no image board. I mean, I could take the RAM DAC off of this board. Okay, I think maybe I've spent enough time on that board. I'm going to I'm gonna take this RAM DAC off the board that has physical damage on it, and I'm going to put it on the board that had no image. I think. This is the one that had no image. Yeah, all right. So I'm gonna take this RAM DAC, and maybe for this I'm going to I think for this I'm gonna just move this 386 board off to the side. All right. That way I can at least give everyone a better vantage point. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this RAM DAC. This is the physically damaged board. All right, good night, Eric. So I'll take this off, and I'm first going to try to put it on the board that had no image. And if If that gives it an image, then we'll see what it looks like. But if that doesn't fix that board, then I'll just quickly take the RAM DAC off of it. And we'll try it on the one with the unstable image. So that's what I'm going to do. Although I got to turn the heat up here. So first see if this will fix the no image, and then we'll see if it fixes the unstable image. Because if the RAM DAC replacement doesn't fix the no image, then that probably tells me there's another problem with the board. Because the fact that it syncs tells me that the crystal's probably working. Because otherwise the RAM DAC wouldn't be able to generate a clock. But I'm wondering if maybe the one RAM DAC, if there's something wrong with it in terms of generating the actual image. Of course, the other thing is if I take the RAM DAC off, maybe there's like hidden damage under it. I mean, I guess it's also possible the no image board, maybe could all the RAM be bad on it? I mean, there's only 2 RAM chips. I guess I'll take a look at what size the RAM chips are when I pull it on the bench. Because actually, if that board with no image, if the RAM chips are like 1 megabyte by 4 bits, then maybe I'll just put this RAM DAC on the unstable image board. Because that might tell me that maybe the RAM's bad. But if the, no, strike that. I'm getting things backwards. If the memory chip is like 512K times 8, then it's quite possible that there's a bad RAM chip on it. Just completely bad. Okay, so it looks like I cleanly got that component off of this board. So if I do ever want to try to put it back, if I end up realizing that maybe fixing the physical damage on this board gives me a better chance at getting a working board, I mean, I can always put it back on because I got it off fairly cleanly. So let's take a look at the no image board. And the memory chips are a Motorola H5M. Oh wait, that's not the part number. Should have known better. It's an MCM 3425660. Which I bet is a 256K times 16 chip, because I think this is a 1 megabyte card. Which means if one of those memory chips was bad, I mean completely bad, then yeah, the RAM DAC wouldn't be able to read anything. But if the memory chip was completely bad, would the video card actually let the computer post? That's a good question. You know, that'd almost be worth removing the RAM. Okay. All right, let me double check that these are the same part. I think maybe I will go with my original plan. So this is a TDK 8001. $9728, $9614. Okay. Okay. Actually, that's a fairly new RAM deck compared to... Hold on, I'm just trying to decide if I want to... which one I want to try swapping first. So this is the sync but no image. Alright, well, I guess since I got it on the workbench, I'll try it first. Alright. So actually, for this one, I'm going to try the... some of this low temp flux. Since this PCB is a one that doesn't seem to have any physical damage on it, so I'm going to try the basically the SRA brand Chip Quick clone and low temp melt this chip off. Alright, so now that I did that, so some more flux. This chip should probably come right off with some so I'm not going to adjust the temperature of my hot air gun, but solder should melt much quicker and chip should just come right off the board now. Well, theoretically, there we go. And it's off. And I'll have to do a little cleanup there, but I don't think anything that's too bad. All right. Clean these pads off. And no, almost would be curious to power this up without the RAM DAC on to see what the error would, if it would give an error And if so, what would the error be? Basically, can this card initialize without a working RAM DAC? I mean, obviously there'll be nothing on the screen, but would it be able to initialize? That is actually an interesting question. Also, I think this chip quick stuff is, maybe would have been better to have used on the chip that I wasn't planning on reusing, because it's kind of... I don't have anything I can really hold this chip in to... clean it up. I may have a problem. Oh, wait. No, that's fine. This is the chip that I thought was bad, so I only really need to clean that up if I am proven wrong. Alright. Let me wick the low melt solder off of my silicon mat here so I don't create any accidental shorts. It'll probably just wipe up, but I want to capture it in the solder braid as much as possible. There we go. That's right. Yeah, I was about to say, I don't need to, good night, Adam. Alright, so this is the good chip. And this is the, let's see, that's the parts board. So this is the good board, or the board I think is good that I thought might just have a bad RAM DAC. So let me put some more flux. And I'm going to put this RAM DAC on that I have reason to believe might actually be a working one. I mean, it's possible it's not. I mean, it is possible that this video card suffered some other failure and someone damaged it to keep someone from being able to use it. But I'm hoping that that the actual problem is that the someone scrapped it because they thought it was worthless, and it was actually a working card before it got a scratch on the back of it. All right, so to solder this back on, I am going to use regular leaded solder. I've got flux on the pads, so I'm going to solder one pin. And solder an opposing pin, and hopefully... Oh. Then realize that your soldering iron is atrociously dirty. Alright, so that looks good. I think all the... Oh, well, hold on. All right. And, all right. I'm going to try to carefully drag solder these because I've got plenty of flux on the board. And then I will carefully check for shorts. And there we go. And one last side. Ah, there we go. Well, looks like I have the, looks like I have it soldered on decently. Let me check with the multimeter and make sure that the multimeter agrees that I have okay, I think those are actually tied together. Okay, let me check the other card here. Whoops. Let me see. So the RAM DAC on pin... So there's pin 1. So which one was it? It was... Okay. So I've got a solder bridge. Let me see if I can clear it up with flux. All right, let's try that again. No, I don't have a solder bridge. Oh, there's a capacitor on those legs. Okay. Well, you know, I think the... Actually, I think that pretty much looks good. given the late hour. I think I'm going to throw just a little bit of caution to the wind and use my spot check as validation. It's one good way to see if I have anyone watching, see if anyone is like, no, I think you should check all the pins. But a visual observation, because the pins on that chip are not that close together. It's a reasonable pitch for repair. I don't see any solder bridges. I checked the one side. I'm just going to go for it. I'm sure someone in the comments will chime in, well, you should have known better. All right, at least give it a contact clean. And let me let that dry off a moment. And then I'll get the 386 back on the workbench. Hey, Biggie John. Welcome. I just swapped RAM DACs from a... So I've got a video card that has physical damage on it. And I'm kind of with the theory that the RAM DAC might be good. And swapped it onto a board where I have... it synchronizes but have no image. Because I don't know if the problem is the RAM DAC or something else. And I was like, well, if there was something wrong with the RAM DAC, maybe it can still send a clock signal to the display, but maybe it can't read memory or has trouble reading memory or something like that. So we'll see. If the RAM DAC doesn't fix this board, if it still has no image, then I will put it, I'll put this RAM DAC in on another board, one that it has an image, but it's awful. Because if I still have a blank image on this board, then it's quite possible that the maybe the RAM, one of the RAMs is bad on this board. And so the RAM DAC reads memory for the display, but the RAM is bad, so all it gets is zeros or whatever. Whatever color, whatever value it would read from memory and draw nothing on the screen. It's just a theory. I don't know if it's correct. All right, well, 3, 2, 1. At least I didn't short anything out. And nope. That didn't fix it. Okay, so the RAM DAC that was on this card might have actually been good. I mean, I guess I could take the... Maybe could take the RAM chips and swap them? Actually, what that tells me is, since this RAM DAC did the same exact thing, that might mean that this RAM DAC's fine too. I just have low melt solder all over it that I'll have to clean up somehow. So maybe all right. So I guess what I'll do is, so this is the card. This card has an unstable video image. I tried. Also, this RAM DAC is a much older one. It's 94 instead of... I think that one I just put on that other card was made in 97, so maybe this RAM DAC is just a tired RAM DAC and it's not generating a stable image on this card. Yeah, the GPU could be dead. You're right. I mean, that's true. Maybe the... Well, yeah, I guess the GPU could be dead in terms of reading memory. So this is the one that had the unstable image, so I'm going to swap RAM DACs. And if it's not the RAM DAC on this one, then... I don't know what it is, but okay. Okay. So, got that RAM DAC off. Let me clean up these solder pads. I'd prefer to just use some fresh solder. And I'll put the... I'm going to use the RAM DAC that was on the one that was the board that was physically damaged. Because it was actually generating a signal for the monitor in the sync but no signal card. So maybe that indicates that the GPU, or the, well, I guess GPU is the correct term. On that sync but no signal, maybe the GPU is bad. Okay. So there we go. So now I want to put... So that's the one I just pulled off the board. And I want to put, oh, this one in its place. I haven't removed it yet. All right, so let me set that board aside. There we go. All right. So yeah, this GPU might very well be dead. I felt like reflowing a 160 pin chip. I mean, I could take the one from the physically damaged board, but that GPU has a couple pins that are bent, and I'm afraid that they might be weakened and not survive a removal. All right, so this is the, all right. So this is the sync but no signal board. And I'm just going to clean the solder off the pads because I want to make sure I didn't, okay. It was an optical illusion. I thought I might have lifted a pad on it, but no, just an optical illusion. If I had another 8900D-R chip on a board that I thought the problem wasn't the GPU, and I didn't think I'd damage the chip removing it, I mean, maybe I would try replacing the Trident chip on this board. Okay. So let me line this chip up. Actually, that looks like a reasonable alignment there. Make sure to add plenty of flux so that the solder flows. Let me tack one of the pins. Then let me come around to the other side here and tack the opposite pin. And that should hold that chip in place. Now let me give it a liberal amount of flux. So I'm going to drag solder the pins in place. Carefully, of course. if I can bend that back. And let me see here. And, well, I may have to actually get a few of the pins manually. All right. So let me take a quick peek here. Visually, looks good. Let me double check a few pins, and then we will all right. I don't have all the pins soldered, so let me take another attempt to solder. Given the trouble I'm having soldering this one, I think I'm pretty much going to have to check all the pins. Make sure they're soldered. Yep, those two pins are actually bridged on the PCB. Okay. Okay. Spot check looks good. And let me clean excess flux off, and we'll give this board a try. So this is the video goes unstable, or video's unstable. If this RAM DAC works but doesn't fix the problem, I'm not going to remove it. I'll just leave it. Because this PCB seems cheaper than the others. So I'll just have to note that I did not improve symptoms with a new RAM DAC. So it's just kind of one of those. I didn't make it worse. I'm not going to remove that RAM DAC. But that'll also tell me that the potentially the other two RAM DACs I have sitting on the bench are also fine. Because one of them's the one I removed from it, and yeah, one's the one I removed off the no sync board. So or the yeah, well, I'll sort them out. Okay. Okay. Well, let's see what it does. Place your bets in the chat. Assuming I actually do have 7 people watching. Okay. And let's see. 3, 2. Oh, probably help if actually. 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, that didn't fix the problem. I can tell already, but let me hook up a keyboard so we can at least go into Windows and I can demonstrate it. So anyways, I will leave this RAM DAC on the board, but it did not fix the problem. So that may mean, that might mean that the crystal there's something wrong with the crystal. And the one I tried to replace it with was just the wrong one. Because the crystals are set up for a capacitance, and although it was kind of weird the pattern I got with the potentially wrong crystal, because it seemed like it was the capture card was locking on to a signal of some sort. So, well, some pictures better than blank, but the image quality on this board is not good enough to use to make a video with. I have standards. Yep, all right, we'll see you later, Thomas. Yeah, some pictures better than blank, but if I'm going to make a video on YouTube, I'm going to actually... I want a card that's actually not doing what this one's doing. But yeah, that didn't fix it. Okay, so it's not... All right, so let me... I guess let me update my notes on this card. Yeah, there were some funky jail bars, which is actually on my notes, but I mean, maybe one of the RAM chips is bad, but I don't have any compatible RAM to swap it out, and at least until I get rid of this interference in the signal. So let's see, refload. I'm making notes because I'm going to set this card to the side. I've done all I can tonight. Refload VGA connector. Trad. We'll swap. Oh yeah. Place RAM DAC. No change. Okay. So basically, I just made a note. I reflowed the VGA connector. I tried swapping the crystal. I'm going to order some of that part that Thomas Armstrong suggested, which should be the correct type of crystal. Just in case that one I tried to put on here was the wrong one. I made a note that I replaced the RAM DAC and that I saw no change with any of those different, any of those things. So I guess let me make another note. Well, Jeremy, here's the thing. I can't tell you what kind of RAM's on the board. And it's actually maybe kind of suspicious. If I had a Garth sus sticker handy, I would put it, but... So, you're probably thinking, well, I can't read the writing on those chips. But I can't either. It's like the writing on these chips has been worn off or removed. It's quite the darndest thing. I mean, if it weren't for the fact that the board doesn't look reworked, I would have almost thought that someone tried repairing this board with remarked RAM chips from China and then put the thing through an ultrasonic cleaner. And the writing disappeared. Which I guess if they ultrasonically cleaned it, then I would never have known they repaired it. So I actually don't know what kind of RAM's on it. All I know is that I think it's got a megabyte of RAM, and whatever RAM chips are on it are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 28 pin RAMs. Let me count the number of pins. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 20, 26 pin. So they're 26 pin memories. I don't know what that package type is. 26 pins seems weird, but there's a total of 1 megabyte on the card. So these are either going to be like 1 megabyte by 1-bit chips, or more likely they're probably like 256K times 4 chips. But there is like no writing on these chips. I can't tell you what they are. Yeah, they should be like 4256s, but I mean, there is no writing on the chip. I cannot. I just put isopropyl alcohol on it to see if it enhanced anything, but it's like the markings on the chips were removed. And oh, but there's a label in the card. So this leads me to believe it was not ultrasonically cleaned, because that label would have come off. I don't think that's like a new label someone put on after the fact, because it looks like a label that was actually Well, actually, the ink is smearing. Maybe that is a new label. I don't know. Maybe someone did try to repair this card with remarked RAM chips. Yeah, now I'm kind of getting suspicious. Well, I'll Google that later. I'm not gonna order RAM chips tonight. I don't have that type on hand. So okay, so this card, I'll put it back in the pile for if I could get some more parts. I'll work on it another time. So let's see here. What do I have left? So I've got the card that has physical damage. All right, given the time, okay, I'm not going to work on the card that has physical damage. So I guess I'll put it back in the bag. It's more likely that it's a parts board. Unfortunately, it's RAM chips. The reason why, I think these are also 256K times 4s, but notice they're 16 pins with a space in between them. So I can't steal these RAM chips, because these RAM chips might actually be totally fine. So this one I'm actually going to put in my I'm going to put it in my spare parts bin, because I think it's a goner. Okay, so that leaves one more. It's the sync but no image. And I guess, one thing I could try is a well, I'd have to replace the RAM deck on it. Well, I've got a RAM deck I can replace. Okay, so I guess the last thing I'm going to do, although unfortunately, well, hold on. No, actually, I'm going to do something else. Okay, so this is the sync but no image. I'm looking at the time. I want to get a card working. So, here's what I'm gonna do. If that bracket position lines up with this card here, then I am going to swipe its bracket and put it on this card. And so I can at least have a card that works with a bracket. So if I take a computer to work in the morning, I don't have to worry about the video card coming dislodged and fighting with it. But actually, that might actually be the right bracket. So I'm going to, I guess this might be cheating, but I'm going to fix a card by taking this one's bracket, because this is the sync but no image card. I'll fool with it later. I think the well, I'll have to put the RAM DAC back on it, or a RAM DAC back on it. So let me do that. Let me make a note. So sync but no image, RAM DAC did not fix. And I want to try reflowing the GPU, and I want to try memory swap. Swapping the two memory chips. Because if maybe one of the two memory chips is bad, and each is 512K. So, anyways, I'm not going to do that tonight because it's 15 till midnight. But this card I'll put back in my pile of my potentially repairable pile. So I'm going to put the bracket that was on that card on this card. And for the last part of the stream, since this card is the one that was for parts that just worked, seemingly, let's actually go into DOS and run a few of the benchmarks on it to see if, well, let's let it boot into Windows to make sure the picture looks good. And then we'll go into DOS and run a few of the benchmark programs to make sure it continues to stay looking good. And make sure we don't see any signs of graphical issues or interference. And then I guess the ultimate test is, and I'll have to post a update to social media, is put this card in the Emerson 386 and see what it does. And if I could do this quick enough, then maybe we'll take a look at the card from Canada as well in this board and see if it really is looking like maybe there's some interference between that board and the Emerson 386. That's weird. So this is the card that supposedly works. All I did was put a bracket on it. Of course, maybe I got flux in the slot or something. Okay, maybe it just wasn't seated. Or, huh? Well, let me try. I guess let me try another slot. Maybe I got flux down in that slot, and I just need to clean the slot in the motherboard. All right. There we go. Okay, I think I need to clean the contacts in the far slot. All right, I'm gonna let it boot into Windows. Let's see what the Windows picture looks like. Granted, my Emerson 386, I'm not running Windows 95 on it, but ooh, Jailbar City. That's a lot of jail bars there. Maybe this card doesn't work as good as I thought it did, because I'm seeing lots of jail bars in Windows. And oh boy, no, that looks bad. There's interference. And I rebooted the computer by simply bumping the video cable. Yeah, that's okay, so that card that seemingly was just working is not actually working. No, I don't think the dirty slot is causing issues. Maybe it's a RAM issue too. I mean, it could be. Well, unfortunately now I've got it a spot where I can't get my finger in between it to, well, okay. I can barely get my finger in there to feel temperature of memory chips, and none of them feel exceedingly warm. But yeah. But yeah, there's jail bars. Yeah, that's 14.9. Okay. Yeah, I think there's something wrong with this card too. It's just not, it just fooled me because it's like in text mode, it's pretty stable. But at least this card seems to use the same RAM as one of the other cards. So maybe I might be able to figure out. Maybe I might be able to figure out the whichever RAM is bad and swap it. But I'm not going to do that tonight. So let me make a note on this one that it actually, all right, doesn't just work. So, bad video quality, stole bracket from sync, but no image. All right. Same. Jail bars. Same as the what was I calling that? It was the yeah, it was the 8900D card. Okay. So now hopefully when I look at this, I'll remember. Anyways, yeah, it looks like this card as well issues. It's quite possible that I got two cards with RAM issues. Because, yeah, the jail bars kind of do make it look like it's having trouble reading memory. So, all right, well, that one's possibly repairable still. I won't give up on it. Yeah, let me clean the, No, I'm not going to clean now. Okay, so I'm going to try one more card. Let's see what it looks like in DOS. So this is the video card from Canada. It's actually a Trident 8900C, not a D. So it's an older generation. All right, I've got my metal shield for some RF signal blocking. Hey, Bruce, welcome. You know, I'd almost be tempted to try your Cirrus Logic card, Jeremy. Not sure. I was almost tempted to, like, if I sent you a a priority mail flat rate label, what else that you were going to send me could you fit in the box? And I think you you put those network cards in one of the other computers. So, I'll actually, you know, this image kind of has jail bars too. I mean, it's possible maybe the jail bars are a side effect of how the Trident card is generating a video image. Because the jail bars don't seem to be present once we go to 640 by 480, and I think this is I don't know what resolution this is right offhand, but I think it's not 640 by 480. It is Oh, of course my monitor's not going to tell me. I don't know what the resolution is, but I don't know that it's 640 by 480. Let me see if one of these benchmarks. What if I go to Chris's 3D benchmark 640 by 480? Do we see jail bars? Oh, this video card doesn't support Visa. That's well, that's going to put a quick stop to running that one. I guess maybe I could run the Doom, which is going to run horribly. I think. Hey, 1-bit fever dreams. No, actually, I see jail bars in that image too. They're not as pronounced. Actually, are they jail bars or is it just the resolution? Okay, I'm looking at my actual monitor and maybe now what I'm seeing is just the resolution. So maybe those jail bars are just a side effect of that VGA. It's not 640 by 480. It's 320 by 240. Maybe the jail bars are a side effect of that. I'm actually running this game benchmark to see if there's jail bars on the screen. Because this video card was not entirely happy in my Emerson 386, but the picture looks much better in DOS. So I guess I'll let Windows start and see what the image looks like. Which maybe my Emerson needs recapped. It wouldn't surprise me. I know Trident was a budget card. Many people had to use the budget card because that's what they were able to get. Because they were buying a computer on the budget. But I'm quickly seeing that maybe I should just stick with trying to buy other cards because these are getting annoying. I'm not even going to calculate what the benchmark was because I was really just running that to see what the picture looked like. So let me let it go into Windows. Let me see what the picture looks like. I think I had a Trident video card at one point too. I don't remember which one it was, but see, there's that resolution. It's got jail bars. But I think once we get into 640 by 480 and Windows 95, I don't think there's jail bars. I'm thinking that might just be a side effect of that resolution on this Trident card being fed into digital. Okay, I'm seeing noise in this one's output too. So it's not, I mean, it's not as bad as. Okay, so the 8900D card I have that I got off eBay, that the image was unstable, it looks really bad. I think there's something wrong with the card. I'm wondering if maybe these Trident cards just were that cheap and the output just wasn't really that good. Now I want to go down. Well, the person that's selling that $25 CRT monitor, they're somewhere around downtown. I don't really like going downtown, but I'm thinking I need to just offer them $20, see if they'll take it, and get a CRT monitor and plug these video cards into that and see if the noise is still there. If the noise is still there with the VGA monitor, then maybe there is something wrong with these cards. If the noise isn't there on the VGA card, then maybe the problem is these modern monitors are just too sensitive. So, yeah, there you go, Jerry. You got a DOA Trident card from Computer Reset. Yeah. I'm wondering if maybe these, of course, my other theory is maybe these Trident cards, because I keep buying the cards in the 8900 series, maybe the Trident was having, maybe they made the chips wrong. Just like MOSTech was putting too much boron in their chips and they were eating themselves from the inside out. I mean, maybe these Trident chips, maybe they were making them wrong too, and maybe they're eating themselves from the inside out, and I just happen to have 3 that are showing early signs, and maybe the one that's got a sync but no signal, maybe that GPU is pretty much eating itself. So you're just basically getting the RAM DAC. It's got just enough control to set resolutions, and the RAM DAC's reading nothing because it's dead. So, yeah, we'll see. I guess I'll make an offer of $20. I'm not going to the bank to get $25. I'll go to the ATM for $20. Like, call it lazy, call it practical. Call it that I could, if I'm going downtown, I have to drive by my credit union's branch, and they don't have $5 bills in their ATM. I mean, I could stop at an ATM that's another bank's ATM, and I can do that twice a month and get a fee refund. So my credit union won't charge me for using another bank's ATM. Because they do that because they don't have a very large network of ATMs. And they will refund me 2 service charges from another bank. I think basically they just figured out, given their user base, it was cheaper to refund the two fees a month for everyone, potentially. Because not everyone's going to go to an ATM twice a month. But it was cheaper to do that, to refund another bank's fee up to twice a month, than it is for them to put more ATM machines around town. So it's like it would cost us more to put more ATM machines around the locations where we have branches. So instead, we'll just refund you up to 2 fees a month. It's like, okay, well, that works. I'm like, but if I go to my credit union's branch, I don't even have to pay the fee in the first place to wait for a refund, because they do the refunds on the first. So so on the first they process refunds for the previous month. So I'm like, I'd have to wait to the first to get my refund. But if I gotta drive right by their ATM, then why don't I just use that? Because then I don't have to wait for a refund. I won't be charged at all. So anyways, yeah, I'm kind of thinking that maybe I just need to, like, forget about trying to buy a Trident card and maybe buy another card. Well, I guess the short summary is I won't be taking the Emerson 386 to work tomorrow because I'm not taking the computer with the video looking that bad. It just looks bad. I at least want to show off the computer in a good light, not a Justin fails at buying a video card for it. So this is like, yeah, this, okay. So for the record, the 4 parts video cards I bought, knowing they were for parts, I thought it could be fun trying to repair them. But the other cards I've tried to buy because they were working, and I don't know. I think I'm quickly seeing that maybe there is something up with the Trident 8900 series of cards, and maybe I should just stop trying to buy Trident 8900 series cards. I was focusing on them because they seem to be easier to get. They're not super rare, so they don't go for insane amounts of money. But maybe there's some I think I'm finding a reason why maybe I should stop trying to buy them, and because I'm kind of wondering if there's some long-term reliability issue with them. So, no, I'm not going to say no more Trident cards, Jeremy, because of the ISA Super VGA card. These are good, although they're only 8-bit, so they're awful for running on a 16-bit computer. I have no problems with these. This card works great. But again, this is the Trident 9000, not the 8900. But the only thing about the Trident 9000 cards is they only do 256 colors. They were a low-cost integrated chip. Granted, I think they were derived from the 8900D, which could do 0 wait state. So they seem to be a pretty decent card. They're not like slower than the 8900, but they were designed for a single chip solution on a motherboard to have integrated graphics. So the RAM DAC's built in. It only supports 512K of RAM, which caps it at 256 colors at 640 by 480. And then in this case, this is an 8-bit card, so half the performance. But I have no problem with the 9000 series. This card's great. But I don't know that I'd buy a used 9000 series card. But I haven't had any problems. Sample size of 1, I've had no problems with the ISA Super VGA and a new old stock Trident chip. So, Jeremy, I did send you one of these PCBs, and I did send you, I think I sent you some memory chips and a Trident chip. So don't let my 8900 experience sway you from putting one of these together, because I haven't had any problems with this. But the 16-bit cards, yeah, pull my hair out. Pull my hair out, then I definitely have to wear a hat to hide the fact that I pulled my hair out experience. So, yeah. So don't let my 8900 experience sway you from building that card, because it seems to work. Also, before I forget, I'm going to put some contact cleaner in this one slot that I think I might have gotten flux down into. Oh, also, it seems like I might be... oh, there we go. This can of contact cleaner is almost empty. Well, luckily I have like 7 more. There we go. There. I really flooded that slot, so hopefully that'll clean it out. So anyways, yeah, so I am having a doozy of a time getting a card for this Emerson 386. I've tried a Orchid Fahrenheit 1280. That card had bad RAM, and I accidentally destroyed the card trying to desolder the soldered RAM to try to see if I could fix it. Yes, I destroyed it. There is no hope for it. I've bought Trident 8900 cards because I thought they would be decent based on a video from it's not Phil's Computer Lab. CPU Galaxy, I think it was. He did a video. He had an 8900D card. He said these will do 0 wait states, so they're pretty speedy. I've had nothing but trouble with 8900 series cards, so they're off my list. I don't know what I'm going to get. I'm kind of hesitant to get a Cirrus Logic because some of those graphics cards are kind of meh. I don't know that I want a card with the AVGA1 chipset on it because I don't know how fast those are. Although the price is right. I'll add it to my watch list. I might end up getting it. I mean, I do know that that chip eventually became the Cirrus Logic 5401. I don't know how good of a chipset that was, but I'll put it in my watch list. I might consider it. I mean, after all, looks like Adrian Black was right. Trident cards are garbage. Don't buy them. So, yeah, don't buy 8900 series cards. Seems like they're just a headache. or I managed to buy the wrong ones. I don't know. I was thinking maybe an S3 based card. Maybe I'll just break down and get a Diamond, was it a Diamond Speedstar Pro or something? Yeah, I'll find one. Yeah, the 5401 I think was the AVGA1 chip. But the other thing is though, I do need a video card that has a megabyte of RAM because I really do want to run more than 256 colors, which is why I was trying to buy the cards I was buying. Because the 8900D cards have the RAM DAC is a true color RAM DAC, and they have a megabyte of RAM. So they'll do like 32K or 64K colors at 640 by 480. I did want to be able to do that. 512K of video RAM is guaranteed not able to do more than 256 colors at 640 by 480. And depending on what I manage to do, it actually makes a difference. So granted, for the video, I'd like to get out. I don't need it, but I'm tired of buying video cards. I just want to buy one more for this Emerson 386 and be done with it. Because I don't want to put the card that came in it back in it. Because it is a truly awful card. And it will only do 16 colors at 640 by 480. And actually, for the video I need to make, I do need 256 colors. So, yeah, no, I don't have any Sing cards. I thought of getting a 4000 or a 4000X, but something scared me off on that. Yeah, no, nope. Run away from that. That's a $50 card that is probably, if I wanted to make yeah, Jeremy, that's the card I buy if I want to play a practical joke on someone and say I've got a speed demon of a video card, because I really can't say that would be very fast. Yeah, not adding that one to my watch list. So anyways, yep, I guess I have just as many working video cards for the Emerson 386 now as I did when I started, and that's 2 cards that are mostly working, but the video still doesn't look right. So, well, guess I'll yeah, I guess I'm going to have to hope that I can write a new SD card for the Amiga in the morning and hope that is the actual problem that is preventing it from booting. Because I'm not doing that now, but I had a game that I wanted to actually take for people to enjoy over lunch tomorrow, because it is Engineers Week, and it is a game that is tangentially engineering related, and it's the game Chips Challenge. So there is an Amiga version of the game. So since it looks like I'm not taking a Windows computer to run the Windows Entertainment Pack version of the game, I guess I'm going to have to hope I can get the Amiga booting from the SD card so that I can run the run a Chips Challenge on the Amiga. So anyways, I think that about wraps up what I'm going to do. Yeah, I'm looking at that video card, Jeremy, and I will give you 8 reasons why I'm probably not going to add that card to my watch list. And if that's not a big enough clue, it starts with M and ends with T. RAM. It's got 8 MT RAM chips on it. Yeah. Maybe they're new enough that they're fine and won't degrade, but Yeah, if I thought I had trouble with the Trident cards, I don't think I'm gonna buy a video card with empty RAM. I'm having enough trouble just with finding video cards that the chipset's fine on. I don't need RAM problems too. Although the chipset would probably be fine, but I mean, it's empty RAM, and that card's old enough that it could be problematic empty RAM. So my recommendation for that seller is to just throw it away, or at least replace the RAM. Or in reality, they'll just sell it to someone who will have to replace the RAM. But yeah, I'm looking at that card, and those are, yeah, made in 1989, 26th week, MT RAM chips. I mean, maybe those are new enough that they won't be a guaranteed failure, but I could upgrade the last card, yes. I could upgrade the RAM, yes, but I don't know that the RAM DAC is upgradable. It looks like it might be socketed, though. Well, I guess I could take a look at that card and see what I could be upgraded to. But I was hoping at this point to buy a card that actually has the amount of RAM already on it so that I could maybe get the video finished. Because this was supposed to be a December video and we're about to get to March and I am having trouble with it. I guess on the bright side, though, the TRS-80 is working, so I guess I could maybe wrap up that video instead. But Marcintosh is about here, so we'll see. Yep, fun. This is why I haven't finished videos, is because I've had trouble with upgrades that just have been spectacular failures. So anyways, this concludes my stream for tonight. Didn't really get the video cards working the way I thought I would. I was almost for sure that swapping a RAM DAC would fix one of them. But sometimes that's the case, and well, sometime I'll probably take another look at those cards and see if I can figure anything out. Maybe I'll do a little bit of research and see if I can find anyone that maybe has maybe any data that says, maybe these things aren't reliable long term. But, well, I think that's about it for tonight. Did answer at least the one most important question, and that is, am I going to have a good video card to take the computer to work so that it actually looks nice? And the answer is no. Nope, it's not going to cooperate. So anyways, smash that like button for trying. Click subscribe if you'd like to know the conclusion to the video card saga or the Emerson 386 upgrade that I'm trying to wrap the video for, or the TRS-80 or Marcintosh. And if you have any information on maybe long-term reliability of those Trident 8900 cards, leave a comment. If you think I did it wrong, well, you probably will leave a comment because you're probably the type of person that won't be able to keep it to yourself. No stopping you. I do prefer the comments to be a little bit more positive than the you did it wrong, though. But what am I going to say? You're still welcome to subscribe if you'd like to know the conclusion. And, well, I mean, let's face it, maybe I did do something wrong, but maybe the thing I did wrong is buying Trident 8900 video cards. Let's just say I'm not going to buy any more, at least in the short term, until I figure out what's going on with them. And with that, I've got my finger on the correct button. It is late. I've started to babble. Therefore, that's telling me I need to go to bed, so I will not be a babble fish in the morning at work. No one likes it when I'm a babble fish. And I would actually like to get things done tomorrow so that I will be free to take my 3-day weekend, and we'll be back Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern to have my computer and syncathon, where I will be working on many different projects, whatever I need to work on. So I hope you'll be back for that. Stop by sometime that afternoon or evening, and we'll have fun doing whatever I have to do. And with that, have a great rest of your day or evening or night, as the case may be. I hope to see you next time, and take care. Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon, and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. Don't forget to smash that like button. And if you've liked what you've seen, subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss the next video or live stream. And as always, thank you for all your support. I hope to see you next time. And until then, take care.